This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Bullet-riddled body of a man found in Steertown, St. Ann. The bullet-riddled body of a man was found in a section of his Steertown community in St. Ann on Friday. Reports are that about 9:15 a.m., residents stumbled upon the body with gunshot wounds along a path in the area. The police were alerted and the body was removed to the morgue. The St. Ann police are investigating. New policies needed to drive transport sector, says Phillips. Opposition spokesman on Transport and Works Mikhail Phillips has described the current transport sector as one operating without vision and contributing to the lack of order with what appears to be an underserving policy and operational approach. During his contribution to the sectorial debate on Thursday, Phillips chided the Transport Authority for merely issuing road license and designating routes without adequately determining how additional operators will be properly accommodated. These so-called bus and taxi parks are owned by the municipal corporation and bear no relationship to the number of commuters. It is causing severe overcrowding in our town centers, with the Transport Authority having no influence. The Manchester Northwestern Member of Parliament highlighted the plight of several taxi and bus operators who are forced to use a space that cannot properly house them, consequently paying thousands of dollars in fines for perceived road traffic breaches. Last month, taxi operators who ply several routes into sections of Christiana, Manchester, protested against the inadequate space and the fines of up to $10,000 per day for failure to use the park. Chief Executive Officer of the Manchester Municipal Corporation, Winston Palmer, who told the news that they are aware of the space challenges, said an estimate will be done to see to the expansion of the current park with a possible assistance from the Ministry of Transport. There is a disconnect in the management of the transport sector caused by the lack of oversight. We must deal with this issue as adequate parking in town centers requires more collaboration between the Transport Authority and the Municipal Corporation, Phillips noted. Following the Transport Authority's imposition of $10,000 fine for operators of public passenger vehicle who are late in renewing their transport license, Phillips encouraged the Minister of Transport to reconsider that decision as there is now mounting pressure with rising gas prices. With an amended road traffic bill first proposed in 2014, placed before a joint select committee of Parliament for review, and subsequently passed in the House of Representatives in 2018, Phillips is calling for an amendment of the Transport Authority Act and the status report on all the promises previously made to revolutionize the sector. New life certificate to be introduced for social pension program. The Ministry of Social Security will be introducing a life certificate for the new social pension program during the first quarter of the current fiscal year. A life certificate is an official document used to verify that a pensioner is still alive and therefore eligible to receive a pension from the government. Project Director in the Social Security Ministry, Elsa Marks Willis, says the document is essential as beneficiaries of the social pension program are 75 years and older, which is a documentation that each beneficiary will have to produce twice for the year to support the life status. It will have to be verified by one of the designated persons who can certify that you are still alive, she said. The $800 million social pension program, launched last July, targets elderly persons who are not currently in receipt of a pension or any other retirement, old age or disability benefit or regular income and not living in a government-run care facility. Currently, there are 7,800 persons registered under the program who receive $6,800 every 2 months. 58-year-old woman perished in fiery St. Thomas crash, 4 others injured. A 58-year-old woman died from injuries she sustained in a motor vehicle accident along the Roland Field Main Road in St. Thomas on Friday. The deceased has been identified as Patricia Brown of Warner Street, Port Maria in St. Mary. Reports from the Golden Grove police are that about 11 a.m., Brown was a passenger in a Nissan Tiida motorcar that was traveling along the mentioned roadway when the driver lost control of the vehicle, which rode an embankment, overturned and caught fire. The burnt remains of Brown, who was trapped in the vehicle, was later found. The driver and the 3 other passengers were also taken to hospital for treatment. Investigations continue. Opposition wants a fuel waiver to continue as the light bill concerns linger. Opposition spokesperson on mining and energy, Philip Paulwell, wants the government to extend the concession recently granted to approximately 450,000 households across the island. Paulwell is also calling on the government to keep the tax waiver that was given to electricity producers who use automotive diesel oil to generate electricity, which he believes, in addition to the 20% concession, will benefit consumers. According to Paulwell, several factors will result in the continuation of sharp increases in fuel prices, which will wipe out the benefit that the Jamaican people will get from the 20% concession, which was to cushion the impact. He said that householders are already feeling the impact of rising fuel prices, as there has been a noticeable increase in their last electricity bill. I am seeing bills more than 50% in some instances, so I am very concerned that it is quite likely that this is going to continue in the near future, Paulwell said in a media video release. I also want to point out that there could be further increases at the end of this month, especially if the government does not continue a waiver that it had granted to electricity producers who use automotive diesel oil to generate electricity. Currently, the tax on that would be $4.86 per liter. It has been waived, but we have not been told of any extension of that waiver beyond the end of this month. So it is foreseeable that that will generate further price increases if the waiver isn't granted, and I urge the government to grant a further waiver, he continued. The government in March granted the 20% concession for 4 months to benefit middle and lower income earners, and according to Paulwell, this is already being wiped out because of the constant increases in fuel prices. I believe we are going to be in this price increase era, this price of electricity being much higher than it was before, for some time, Paulwell said. It is quite likely to surpass this financial year, so I am calling upon the government to extend the concession of 20% to those who use 200 kilowatt hours beyond the 4-month period for the duration of this fiscal year, so that the consumers can continue to benefit. Even though the concession is at 20%, it is not going to mean a lot for the consumers, because as we all know, with the increase of prices for electricity and transportation, this affects anything else in the society, he said. Chog says lengthy court matters an injustice. Justice Minister Delroy Chog has said lengthy court matters are a tragedy and an injustice following a recent Privy Council ruling which freed a former policeman of murder after 20 years. Former police constable Lessence Edwards was in 2013 sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his girlfriend Aldona Harris Vasquez in 2003. Mr. Chog said too many people are finding it extremely difficult to get justice, partly because of the time it takes for cases to be resolved.
It is a tragedy in our courts that a matter should take 5, 10, and one that came back from the Privy Council recently, almost 20 years. That's not justice. I dare say, when any matter in any court lasts longer than a year, you get an injustice. Because as they say, justice delayed is justice denied.
7 held over St. Andrew apartment cocaine seizure, each granted $300,000 bail. A May 12 court date has been set for the 7 persons, including 3 Americans, charged in connection with the seizure of cocaine at an apartment in St. Andrew last month. The date was set when 26-year-old Tyrell Halliman of the USA, Daniel Halliman, 25, of Stony Hill, St. Andrew, 27-year-old Lamar Clark, a trader of Port Antonio, Portland, Anicia Reed, 21, customer service agent of Greater Portmore, St. Catherine, 24-year-old Raquel Robinson of Barbican Way, St. Andrew, Chien Drayton, 26, and Delia Carey, who are both from the USA, appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday. The accused were each granted $300,000 bail with sureties. Bail applications were made by attorney-at-law Kimberly Whitaker, who is representing Carey, and attorney-at-law Aisha Robert Cunningham, who is representing the other 6 accused. Allegations are that on March 29, the police went to a gated community in St. Andrew. The Hallimans were reportedly seen with suitcases leaving an apartment. Tyrell Halliman allegedly told the police that he had recently rented the apartment and that he was on his way to the airport, but other persons were inside. It was reported that the other accused were in the apartment when the police entered. On searching the apartment, the police allegedly found the cocaine. They were subsequently arrested and charged on April 1 with possession of cocaine, taking steps to export cocaine, and a conspiracy to export cocaine. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.